you
Your compliment, crap,
yeah,
compliment.
yeah,
But I
things
thought
you need
it
to work
was
on.
I thought it was pretty insightful though, right? Because he's self-aware of what happens in the moment versus being a spectator. Like I thought that was pretty insightful in terms of how he views himself.
Yeah, no, I thought so. Yeah, I don't know. The in-game stuff's interesting. Like, it's got to get better. I think that's the first couple of years. There's been some moments where it's felt like the transmission was going out a little bit, and there were some grinding gears and stuff like that. But I think that have so I've been thinking about this a little bit, and this connects to what you're saying. So you've basically handed the keys to the offense to Dana Holgorsen. So you feel okay about who's running things over here. You got John Butler over here now, and I mean the piece that really allows him to kind of be, for lack of a better word, a CEO head coach is Phil Snow, right? Like that's the eyes and the ears on the defensive side of the ball. Matt Rhule will always be involved with the defense, but he had some comment too in Vegas about how he basically has to now, like, he's not just in the trenches with the coaching stuff. He's doing the recruiting piece of it. He's able to do kind of the manage the off the field stuff, which nowadays is such a huge part of being a head coach. I mean, the thing about being a head coach now in college football, so little of it is actually the X's and O's and the between the lines stuff. So having kind of these, for lack of a better word, like these position group head coaches on those sides of the ball, each side of the ball, that frees them up to do the in-game stuff, to look big picture at things, to figure out ways to recruit better, or to the branding type stuff that's so important. So I think things have kind of been very slowly working this way for Matt Rhule since he's been at Nebraska. Is how do you kind of free yourself up to do those, like, the head coachy type things that you have to do nowadays, that are not just game planning and kind of like the whistle in the mouth coaching shorts kind of thing.
Yeah, let me give you a por ejemplo, um, Michael. If Rule trusts Holgerson and Dylan, and he can flip over those headsets and say, hey, Dana's experience yields this. This is how I know what Dylan's doing. Situationally, it impacts me like blank. And then you flip over and he's on the other side of the headsets and he's listening to JB, and he can talk shorthand to Coach Snow and Coach Williams, and he knows how Phil thinks. In-game management becomes easier if you don't feel like you have to think about what everybody else is thinking, right? Just naturally,
Mm-hmm.
you'd
It's
think you'd be better in those situations, right?
When you're being tugged in fewer directions.
Yeah, and there's know-how, right?
I think the biggest place where you're going to see that benefit is on offense, because I think there was a bit of a getting to know you um,
Getting to know.
phase with Dana, and how he chooses to, like, when to attack, when to kind of take the air out of the ball. I mean, Matt Rule's even said this a few times since the end of last year, that there were times where he probably would have gone a little bit more conservative in certain areas with the offense and the approach, and that was not the approach that Dana was going to take in certain situations. And having kind of gone through that last year, I feel like you probably are on the same page a little bit more to what you're speaking about, where you're not having to stand there on the sidelines and kind of readjust to somebody that approaches things in a much different way than you do, because you've had time to talk these things out for the last 9 months. And I think there's a benefit there. You would think that, if you have time to think a little bit more on the sidelines about, okay, if this situation happens, this is how we're going to do things. I think there's probably a benefit to that. It's there's been times, I think, where the in-game management and kind of how they approach things has been good. I think there's been times where it's needed to be better. And I think when you can probably trust your offense a little bit more, it makes those decisions a little bit easier to make because, I mean, the last 2 years, you really haven't been able to rely on much and to really count on much. So I think that'll help everybody in kind of making those in-game things a little bit better.
What if he would have said, "What kind of question is that?" Would you guys have even felt bad for me, or would you have like squeezed the lighter fluid and like flicked the match? Like, be honest.
That's a great question.
Be honest, Bruntz. Where you've been like, "Yeah, get that guy."
No, there are many other questions that are asked at media days that deserve to be gotten after than that one.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I mean, in typical Bruntzy fashion, it's you didn't dispel the notion that you wouldn't mind seeing me get torched.
No, you're fine.
Compared it to other fires, right?
It's
like
it's fine. You're no, it's
that's your guy.
here's what the media set up now at Big Ten Media Days, I appreciate a little bit more because they used to make those guys sit there for much longer than they do now. And you'd get the guys that have their little bit and they'd come up and ask you to draw something with your eyes closed and all this other stuff. They don't do that as much anymore. But I think it was a fine question. I don't think he would have gotten after you, Damon. I mean, you're on the walls of the practice facilities.
So is Scott Frost, though.
Not as big as Damon's picture, though.
He's got to be trolling me, right?
It's hard to miss, Damon. Like it's like the national title years are like this big, and like your photo is
my
like
last name is the only
big.
one you can read. I didn't sleep for 4 nights. I'm like, what is he? Like, what are you doing?
I think he probably just knows how uncomfortable it will make you.
And he's got my quote in the new facility, in the other new facility.
There are probably other photos they could have chosen, but they chose yours. So there's probably a reason for that. You should have asked that question. That's the one you should have asked.
See, he does want me kerosene. Just when I think we've crossed that tree of trust, you guys have no idea how much I need you for emotional support. Everybody else has got these dogs in the airport. I need a 247, guys. Meanwhile, he and Shafe just rather with the lighter fluid. Beastie will just fan out the smoky flames. BC, not BC, Bruntzy, what was your opinion on when he talked about both fronts? What he said about how he felt about the D-line, in addition to what he said he felt about the O-line. Which one tracks more with what your conventional wisdom thought?
I think defensive line. I mean, from the outside, I think there's legitimate questions about what that's going to be.
Were you surprised at his at the confidence in his response?
Not really. Like, if you go back, like he's said before, like we've always been good at the defensive. Like I think there's his response did not surprise me because I think that he's always had confidence, regardless of season, that they can put it together up front well enough to be effective. And I think I was expecting him to say that. Like he's said that too, I think during spring ball, that that they feel like that group has the potential to be good enough to do what they need to do up front. So that didn't surprise me as much. I mean, I think it more, his comments with the offensive line probably more aligned closer to what I felt going in. I mean, I think that's a pretty intriguing group, especially when, I mean, if like Teddy Prohaska is your swing tackle, I mean, that's having that experience in that role is pretty good. Lutovsky,
he's good. He's a good player.
The fact that they brought him to Big Ten Media Days, I think he's going to factor somewhere in there. He was good at the end of last year. And, I mean, you've got Tyler Knack, you've got Gatula, who started last year, that I think everybody kind of forgets about in that mix too, of how things are going to shake out. So I can go along very easily with the potential to be good up front. The defensive line one, I need to see it, I think. And I think that's probably fair, just given the pieces there and who they lost and all that stuff. But I mean, I think you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, at least, because they have been good up front historically. So I'm willing to listen. Is that fair?
Yeah. He and I didn't have this conversation at all during spring or through this morning. But I remember it was either you, it was for sure Ravi, and I think it was maybe you. It was one of the 247 guys where I said the offensive line in the spring was so good, whatever day I was there, that I questioned myself on who they were going against. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I was like, I think I called you on the,
I
called
me on
Ravi
the way home.
on the interstate,
Yeah.
and I go, I'm kind of second guessing myself because were they practicing against bums, or was the offensive line going to be that good? But over time, I'm just convinced. Like, I actually think I'm ready to say they're a strength of this football team. And to hear Coach Rhule say they were the most dominant group during spring, yet lament over the D-line's prowess, I don't know. It was kind of hard for me to not run through a wall and sugar-free or the 29-cent packets or whatever Kool-Aid costs
Grape or
right
cherry?
now.
Like, what are we doing? Which one?
It's purple.
Oh,
That's
purple.
not grape, and it's red.
My household, it was grape.
Well, we're like Wonder Twins. We're both brown. It's the color, not the flavor. Thank you. Let Bruntz say strawberry. No disrespect, Bruntz. I mean, what were you like? Did that seem weird to you, Bruntsy? That I'm like,
well, it's the classic like spring conundrum of like who's better, who's like, are they really this good? Is the other side that bad? I mean, it's the same. Like, oh man, the defense is getting so many turnovers. Like, they're wreaking havoc, and it's like,
I got 19 picks today.
So I guess that's why I need to see it.
Yeah.
Yep. I do think though that offensive line can be good. I like that move of Justin Evans to center. I think that's a good move. It's the move that needed to happen. I mean, you added Pritchett and Spindler. I mean,
I think and a guy like Sledge could play tomorrow.
Yeah,
Gatula,
I mean, they're
tomorrow.
They're at that time that point in kind of the development of the offensive line where you still have all those old guys hanging around that have played a ton of football, and you've kind of got that next group that's finally to the point where they're ready to get in the two deep in a serious way. And I don't know. I mean, I think we've kind of been talking through it on our site, but I mean, I still think there's a lot to be decided on kind of how things shake out and roles and that kind of thing. And you also have guys in that room that can play multiple positions. And that's, a good thing to have. It doesn't make it easier for us to kind of determine where guys are going to fall by the time the opener rolls around. But like I said, I mean, I when he said that about the offensive line, I was like, okay. I mean, I'd be willing to go along with it. Defensive line, I think I just need to see it a bit more.
Michael Bruntz here for Counting Crows.
I mean,
just hanging around.
More of an Omaha guy myself, but
it was actually a knock. It wasn't in affirmative.
I mean, if we talk about just Gatula and Teddy, you've got two guys who've started at tackle that likely aren't going to start if we can follow the breadcrumbs with Canuck and what Rhule said about him. You've got Sledge, who could start tomorrow and nobody would bat an eye. Corcoran, who's started at multiple spots.
Corcoran has over 40 starts.
Right. Yeah.
So we're at 9 deep now, and I don't even have to stretch, right? Like, we're almost at a full 2 deep on the offensive line. Like, when's the last time you could say that?
It's been a long time. Like, legitimately
just say like, hey, I can go 9 without being like, well, if this guy's ready and maybe that. And like, we've seen all 4 of those guys that I just mentioned. We've seen them play.
Yep. No, and it's That's the
I didn't
thing.
even mention like Knutson or
That's what I mean. I'm not stretching
like,
at all. These are only guys that have actually played.
Yeah. And you got at guard, you've got Machachok's always kind of just hanging around. You've got
McBride
Pyle
Briggs
and those
right there. Like,
yeah, everybody loves bricks.
bricks. I mean, there's a lot of guys, a lot of guys.
Lulla.
And so I don't know. I mean, it has been a long time since and I guess there's probably some freedom there too, or if a guy's not doing it, you can get somebody else in there if you need it. But
It sounds so bad, Bruntz, but man, I subscribe to that like no other. I always want to have options.
yeah,
If I don't like the way you're playing, I've got to coach you. I've got to coach in a way where I don't have to be committed to you. You can come sit your ass down. Like that's the goal, right? Doesn't sound good, but if I don't like the way Hartzog or Singleton or Marshall or Van Poppel's playing, I want to be like, hey, this is out of love, but we got to do something different here.
That's the only real way you can hold people to a standard, right? Is to have other options. Because if a guy's not upholding the standard and the gap is cataclysmic between 1 and 2, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can't do anything about it.
Like, don't you want to bring in a productive guy like Judy or Linhart if you don't like the way that Davis or Van Poppel is playing? Like, that sounds pretty good off the cuff, right?
Well, and I'm just thinking back to position groups over the last couple of years where like you had that option. Like you could do it along the defensive line last year to a degree, I think. I don't know that offensive line you could have done that, especially when they started having the injury issues.
Yeah, how many they started 9 different players last year, right? And we didn't bat a 9. Or
Yeah.
8 or 9.
I think it was 9. I think it was 8 or 9 the year before too. And like we haven't even noticed hardly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like it feels like there's a lot more good depth than what they've had. And I think that's, the quiet confidence conversation that, came up a lot in Vegas. I mean, I think that's part of it is you've got options. You've got a legit 2 deep, maybe more at most positions right now. So that's a good place to be starting from. And like you said, I mean, if you get into the 3rd game of the season or something and somebody's not hacking it, at least you have a, barring injury, you can pivot a little bit. So that's a good luxury to have.
You're a big 104 over 77 guy, Bruntz. So let me ask you, if like we say things about Ohio State, hey, I'm just going to pencil in good quarterback play, or Iowa, where I'm going to pencil in blank.
Good defense and special teams. Yeah. Whatever.
Right, where they've done it, and so you feel good about it. Do you feel more comfortable if you were going to be held accountable to saying, yep, Holgorsen's always been good, so Nebraska is going to be good offensively, or Eckler is kind of a special teams maven? I expect Nebraska, I think I just answered my own question because this sounds hard for me to say out loud, but Nebraska is going to be good on special teams. Which one do you feel more comfortable saying given their track record? Because both Eckler and Holgorsen historically have been good.
Yeah. Well, you led me to it.
Even me saying it.
You drove me right up to the door and dropped me off, Damon.
I know the question that I'm trying to answer.
I was like,
just tell me what you want me to say.
Nebraska's good on special teams because of Eckler. I couldn't even spit it out.
I am more willing to go along. Well, so both
Isn't
of those.
it easier to be good on special teams?
Yes, as long as you pick the right guys, and that's the only thing that I would
disagree.
I would be a little bit concerned about is you've got a guy playing his first college football.
Like the actual specialist, you mean, right?
The actual person doing
Kickers,
the kicking,
snappers,
the kicking and snapping and holding.
Yeah. Okay.
God dang you, Bruntz.
That's the only and when you say good, like, can we say better? Like, like
No,
middle of
I just
middle
mean,
of the road
Evan,
would be
I
a
just
pretty
mean
good improvement.
6-7 yards of punt return. I mean, 41 net punting. I mean, like,
I've just
I'm
said
not talking about splitting atoms. I'm just talking about.
It's felt that way though at times, right?
I get it.
I've just always used the term if special teams is not disastrous.
Yes.
No, see, that can't be. We have to shift gears.
I'm just saying that's my standard. I get internally it doesn't need it
Because
can't
there's
be
only
that,
a
right?
few teams where you feel comfortable as a coach saying, if we could just break even. Like that would be like Iowa because they're so good. So you're not assuming you're going to be better than them on special teams, but you don't want to resign yourself as a coach to saying, well, hey man,
I'm not
just
even
because they're tops in the country.
No, but that's
the lower
them. This
bar,
is
you know?
us. We're
I'm not
in
even-
the
yeah.
we're in the tree right now talking about this.
I'm not even comparing Nebraska to the other team.
Oh.
I'm just saying if Nebraska doesn't actively lose games on special teams.
Yeah. Like
That's what I'm talking
That
about.
sounds so miserable.
It's true though. That's the
Yeah.
like
knock it off.
No, like when people come at me for my 10-2, I sit there and I go, okay, give me Mike Eckler last year, and I'm at 8 automatically, just full stop.
Maybe 9, depending on how you feel
That's
about
what I mean.
Illinois.
Well, I was counting Illinois and Iowa. What's your third one?
Yeah, good point.
So-
you meant regular season.
Yeah, so I meant regular season. Yeah, so I'll take
Okay.
8 full stop just with Mike Eckler, right?
Yeah.
And then, so my question is year 2 Dylan Raiola and full year Dana Holgorsen worth 2 wins? And my answer is yes. Like, that's how I get to 10. It's not rocket science for me. It's a manageable schedule. I'm not going to piss away 2 games on special teams. And then I've got a 5-star quarterback who's no longer a true freshman and one of the best offensive minds in the country. Like, I get 10 is aggressive, but I don't feel like I'm crazy.
If you're top 50 on offense and in special teams, like that's like you're probably getting close to your number. Like
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
I completely agree.
these don't
with
have
it.
to be top
Like,
10
that's
units.
Not even.
you don't have to be like when you say you break even with Iowa, like you
That's
don't have
be
to
like
be
top 20.
that would be okay on special team.
That's
Like
why I'm saying there's only a handful of teams where, as a coach, you feel okay making the other team the standard.
but if
And
you're
Iowa's in that discussion.
if you're what you were on defense about there and you're top 50, which is a big lift from where they were to a degree. I mean, just in terms of numbers, but I think if you get close to that, like that's going to be a pretty good look. And it's not that's the margin, how thin it is for Nebraska and how thin it's been in the past. But I mean, I think it's probably if your specialists are even middle of the road, like I think you can make a bigger leap on special teams more quickly. But I do think that to your initial question, I think I'd have confidence in what that offense can be too.
It'd be crazy if we could just actually get to special teams and not kicking it.
Yeah.
Hey, so Bruntz, I'm going to give you something to think about for next week, okay?
Okay.
Is there a UCLA game out there on the schedule in 2025? We know the 50-50 games and kind of the must-wins if they want to get to this. Is there a UCLA game out there where you're thinking, oh, they're going to win this game, and then they actually play the game, and it's like, that sucked? Is there one of those on the schedule for you? You think about that.
There is. We can chit chat next week about that.
That's our guy, Michael Bruntz. Husker247.
Thanks, Kerosene.
Thanks, Bruntz. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.